This arrow, depending on how Salantro places it, could have big implications. I feel like in the less experienced lobbies, things like arrows, things like mortars, things like wrecking balls, they have such a massive impact on the match. Whereas in competitive play, you know, it's all about the spike balls, the black holes. Arrows still, of course, super good, but by Salantro. Ezxteban is moving with confidence. A type of confidence I don't normally see in players who aren't competitive already. But even so, Salantro not far behind. Okay, now this could be interesting. Cannons are the type of item where, like, there's so many things that you can do with them, but oftentimes it takes a pretty high level of knowledge to be able to spot those things. Even so, I don't think this is a bad placement from Ezxteban at all. I like the hockey puck. Oh, and I really like that black. Still, both of these players moving through it with, honestly, not much difficulty at all. Hopefully we get to see some big ticket items. Me personally, I'm hoping to see a wrecking ball. I think a wrecking ball is exactly the type of item we need to ramp up this difficulty. Two cannons could do the trick, though. Two cannons could do the trick. I see what Salantro was going for. I wish that he set it up, to be honest. Okay, that cannon's decent. Narrowing the area that's safe to land on by just a little bit. I want to see some more bold placements. Nobody's scoring right now. There's only so many rounds. I want to see someone play something hard. Mind that black hole one bit. Oh, and there it is. I want to say, is that the first death so far? Salantro gets through. Black hole wasn't an issue, neither was the cannon. I think... Okay, there's still an arrow, but most likely a point here. Oh, but wait a minute, I spoke too soon, I think I'm underestimating that arrow. It all comes down, is Ezxteban gonna recognize the correct approach to this setup? He does! The jump from the left, way easier than going for the wall jump over the arrow. Salantro has, you know, 2 lives, 3 if you include this one. Still enough time to figure that out themselves. Let's see it. A little bit sloppy. Are these nerves? You know, both of these players look so strong every round before this. Like, I don't think a single death before now. But as soon as one player makes it to the goal, that's when the pressure sets in. Speaking of pressure setting in, wait a minute, there are 20 seconds left. Salantro, you have a life. It's still possible. You gotta speed through this if you want to avoid giving Ezxteban the lead, and that'll do it. Ezxteban up 1 point. Okay, now Salantro. The Big thing is, you gotta keep an eye out for the areas where Ezxteban was struggling last round. And you want to capitalize on that. Because if Ezxteban is dying in one spot and you're not, then suddenly throwing as many items as you can in that area just increases the chance that you make it. Take your opponent's weaknesses and really hammer them in. Oh wait, Salantro potentially trapped. No, he recognizes. Good stuff. Oh my god, wait, the cannon is non-lethal, just barely. That's crazy that it didn't kill him either time, even with the arrow firing. Okay, Ezxteban, a good opportunity to score here. Ooh, but the cannon arrow gets him. Wait a minute, Ezxteban, you have the lead, but it looks like the pressure is reversed. Still, that might not be enough for Salantro to overcome that cannon setup. Honestly, I'm a really big fan of what I'm seeing so far. Both of these players, they move with confidence. They clearly have a solid baseline, fundamental level of skill. But they're not falling into the same traps that most newer players do, where they kind of rush in through things. They're taking their time, thinking about things, being as calculated as possible. Maybe a little bit more calculation needed on that one, but even so, I'm quite impressed with what I'm seeing so far. Ezxteban, I don't think there's enough time. I think if you're a pro player, 10 seconds was probably enough there, but the timer's gonna do it. Let's look out for these builds here. I like that 1x1. That 1x1 box that they placed last round. It gives a path forward to get through that cannon setup with the arrow, but it doesn't make it needlessly easy. And I think especially from Salantro's, point of view, when you're down the point, that's kind of exactly what you need. Last round Salantro had the opportunity to score, but fell flat getting past that cannon. Nerfing it in a way that still keeps it difficult enough to potentially keep Ezxteban from scoring is honestly a really good and solid level of strategy that I wasn't expecting to see so early on in the amateur bracket. I feel like I see a lot of, regular, competitive community players who miss out on that kind of stuff. Also, can I just say, I love this staircase. Whoa, wait a minute. Ezxteban! That drop down, oh my goodness. This could be a point. If Ezxteban extends the lead to 2-0 here, it's going to be exceptionally difficult for Salantro to come back. Ezxteban makes it past the first part of the setup. Doesn't fall into the cannon. And he gets it. He gets it. Now, very likely a point. But that being said, Salantro made it almost all the way last round. And Salantro has 2 lives left. 1 life left now. It's possible. Salantro, if you want to stay in this game, this is your chance. I think overcoming UCH is the type of game where once you get a lead, that'll do it. 2-0 for Ezxteban. So I was saying UCH is the type of game where once you get a lead, or once your opponent gets a lead, it's really difficult to make that comeback. Because there's just so many tools at your disposal to prevent your opponent from scoring. If you already have the lead, you can just kind of extend that and let the timer run out. But something that's a little bit interesting to me is I feel like the typical strategies you see at higher level of play where you get a point and then you just stall out your opponent to ensure the win. I feel like it's a lot less likely that we see something like that from the beginner bracket. So even though Ezxteban has a bit of a commanding lead right now, it's still entirely possible for Salantro to make this happen. Especially if Ezxteban keeps dying like that. Salantro. I love the patience. So many different moving parts. It's just, it's such a good habit to get into, waiting for the right time to make your move. Good stuff by Salantro still. Now let's see. Salantro, not quite as comfortable with the drop downs, but I like the strategy. I like the strategy of going onto the spring and trying to time the sprint to the left. I don't think it was the wrong play, but the execution just wasn't there. Bit of a misplay. Salantro. Still 2 lives left, and there's... I assume the timer is ticking down. Only getting near to that limit. And there it is, yep. Now, we've been talking so far about the opportunity for Salantro to still make that comeback. But what I haven't mentioned is that Ezxteban has the opportunity to win right now. You know, no room for Salantro to make that comeback if you already have 3 points, but Ezxteban just barely choking it in the last stretch of the level. Salantro hanging on. Down a life here. Ooh, that arrow on the bottom is a phenomenal placement. Almost a good save by Salantro. Getting the wall jump off that hockey is good recognition, but there's so many moving pieces here that it's kind of difficult to maintain your composure in a spot like that. Oh, Salantro sees the strategy, just doesn't run far enough to get into that gap. Both of them gonna fall to that arrow. Just got word now. It looks like all of the playoff matches are done, so we're going to be starting with the intermediate and the pro bracket. After this match, I will have one pro bracket set lined up, ready to stream. Getting quite difficult at this point. If I'm Salantro, I'm looking for a way to make this map easier. There just isn't much of an opportunity to score when it's this difficult. Oh, okay, wait. I really like that conveyor belt placement. I feel like taking away just that bottom arrow, it keeps the setup difficult enough that, you know, you still can't reasonably expect the players to consistently get past it, but it provides a much more clear route to getting through it. Nicely done, Salantro. This time makes it into the gap. Oh, but wait, goes backwards and dies to the arrow. If that isn't a moment of panic, I don't know what is. Still, the fact that he got through it in the first place is hopefully enough to instill confidence. Because I want to see a close game here. I think that Salantro is a good enough player to make it happen. Control by Salantro here. Ezxteban onto the final life. I think he's still struggling a little bit with that setup beneath the tree, but so is Salantro. Both of them onto their final life. Close. Ezxteban fully running through. Maybe not recognizing that you need to jump over that arrow there if you want to maximize your chance of succeeding. And that'll do it. Ezxteban is going to take it. We'll play out this round. But Ezxteban will be moving on. Salantro, of course, still in it. This is the winner's side of the amateur bracket. Everyone has at least 2 opportunities. Salantro. Now, a lot of people might look at this current situation and say, you know, why even play it out? The game's already over. Does it really matter? But you got to consider that, like, I think for both of these players, this is their first time entering a competitive UCH tournament. When you have so little experience, every little opportunity to practice matters so much. So I think for Salantro, and even for Ezxteban, I think getting those extra reps in before you move on to your next match, it counts. Every little bit counts. You know, when I'm entering tournaments, I play out every single set because, you know, getting as much warm-up as possible, it really does have an impact. Salantro, wait a minute, makes it through, recognizes the safe spot from the flower. Really impressive display of maintaining composure there. But as I say that, the flower is going to put the final nail in the coffin, and that will do it. Ezxteban moving on to round 3. Salantro moving on to the loser's bracket.